Hi. Hi, everybody. It's Deb here. And like I promised, I got all my babies from my last show all prepped. They're all ready with their primer. And they've been nice and dry. So I'm going to line their hands and feet up among their heads. And I'm going to start applying my colors for their skin tone. So what I do, a lot of artists I've seen do tutorials and stuff, or just how they paint, whether it's a tutorial, just you watching them paint. I've watched probably a dozen of them, if not more, over the last couple of years. And I see some of them go right into, after the primer's done, go right into the pinks, or go right into the blue base, or go right into the whatever base they're starting with. But I personally like to start my, when I'm starting to build my skin layer, I like starting with actually a skin color in it rather than starting with pinks. And that's because I have had more than one occasion that when I started with the pink or with the red in the, the light pink wash that you start with, a lot of times the pigment will stain. It'll go right through to the primer and you can't get it out. And if I put that first coat with the flesh on, I could usually, while I'm pouncing, I could usually make sure that is not going to stain the vinyl. It's just weird. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just the way I apply it. I don't know, but I always start with the base. So I was looking at these babies and trying to figure out what color skin that they were going to have. And the more I looked at this little baby Sweetie, she almost looks like she might be able to be a biracial baby. I am not sure, and I usually don't like to put so many coats of paint on when their vinyl is this light. But I would almost like to make this a biracial baby. I don't know, I'll see as I get closer. But I am going to put a base of a beige and a sienna for this one here, just in case I decide to go that way with a deeper, richer skin tone. I don't have to keep rebuilding and building 50 coats of paint. This little baby is going to be, and this is a very cute, sweet sleeping baby. This baby is going to be just Caucasian on the pinks side rather than the olive side. This little baby's going to have some color because she already has a little bit of a base color on her vinyl. So I'll deepen this up a little bit and she'll be olive. This baby will be olive. And then this little frowning baby right here, he's going to be a peaches and cream because he is so fair. And with his little wrinkles, that's going to be so cute. So don't ask me why wrinkles and would be good peaches and cream, because I have no reason to say that. But it just came out of my mouth, so I'm owning it. So how you start these, when you start with your first wash, and I'm going to start with this little open-eyed baby on the end that's going to be peaches and cream, because I can then change the colors out for my babies over here. Get my space set up first, so I have plenty of places to move it. And I'll get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get Flesh 6 and Baby Flesh, because this baby's going to be light. So I will put a little bit of, I'm going to do it in here, but I'm not going to because I'll need more. So I'm going to put a little dollop, maybe about a quarter size, a floating medium, and then I will put in and I'll just use one of these to measure it with because it doesn't squirt so well. So I'm just going to use a little bit like this, pop that in there, start stirring that around. And baby flesh is really, really, really nice. I'm not going to put any 6 in it, but I may put, so here's my peaches and cream, baby. I may put, so I'm going to put just a tiny, tiny, tiny little bit of orange. Very tiny. I'm recording.
Oh man.
Oh man, I know it. I'm sorry. Maybe just 1 drop of the Fusion.
Okay.
Close the door, please. Thank you. And now water. So I don't know if you can see that color? A little bit more water. A lot of people use mineral water or spring water or filtered water or whatever they use. I don't. But I have really good water in Oregon, so it may be where you live is much more needed. So I'm gonna start with this little baby. He's my lightest. And I'm just gonna put a little bit on the back of his head. Okay, so you see I already put some on. You see you can hardly even see it. Just a little bit. So that's what you do. You just get this wash and you're gonna go all the way around his head. Very nice, very quickly. And you don't want it to stay too long because these air dry paints dry fast. And if anything has any red undertones in it, it will stain quickly. So you're just gonna move it on really nice and fast in one giant section like here. I'm gonna go right over his top of his head too. And then I'm gonna get a nice clean sponge right here. And I'm gonna pounce it out. And this just makes sure there's no pooling. And allows you to keep putting on layer upon layer of translucent paints. So I use either the Fusion paints. I've never used Heat Set because I can't find a decent air dryer, or whatever you call them, that you bake the babies in. I don't want to bake in my house, and I don't want to worry about any more fumes than I'm already getting. So I just use the air dry. I have good luck with the air dry. Once you get the hang of blending, it becomes very, very, very easy. Now you could see a little bit. I'll show you. I don't know. Show you how well you can share it. You see how there's a little glow of the pink on the top of his head and it fades out here? That's as much as that color as you see. It really is very, very transparent. So now I'm going to come around to the front of his face and go over everything on this side, saving the ears to last, because that's where you want to really make sure there's no pooling, because it goes down those little crevices and you just can't get them out. You could tip the outside, just don't go inside and do the detail work. Just a little bit more here. This is going to be a really nice color on this skin. So when I see babies, I usually get a vision of what I think they look like. I never look at what they're supposed to look like as far as what the sculpt design said they were, because I personally see other things with babies. I don't know if everybody does that or not, but I sure do. So this is all the way around. I'll go ahead and pop his ears really fast. Get my water. Since I already came down on that forehead line, I'm going to do that first. I don't want it to be too dark. Top of the ears, behind the ears. Under his double chin. And pooling is the biggest thing you want to keep away from. I mean, these babies have so many coats of paint on them, usually. My baby's 10 to 15 with the sealers and the varnishes and all that stuff as well. You're looking at 10 or 15 coats of paint by the time you're through, if not more. For me, anyway, that's how many I usually end up putting on. So if you see that there's a tiny little mistake, don't let it screw with you, because chances are good you could fix it. You'll fix it in one of the other steps you're taking. When I go into the ear, I get a smaller brush and I just kind of pounce it in. That makes sure there's no lines. Go behind the ear, one real fast, a little quick, just to make sure there's no pooling. And as you're going through, you'll see if there's shiny spots that aren't as dried or matted out. You might want to go into there just to make sure there's no marks that you don't want to see. Once in-ground little lines start setting up, if you don't notice them with every pounce, they're really hard to get rid of. I'm trying to get more light in here, I'm sorry. I'm still working on the lighting in my room. It gets pretty dark up here at night. So I'm going to put him next to his leg and see if you can see the difference in the color change. I think you can see it maybe just barely. This baby has a little bit more. It's starting to look a little bit more like skin with that one coat on it. I don't know if you can see it. I can see it, but I know what I'm looking at too. So I think you could probably see it on screen. I hope so. Anyway, that's how minor it is for all the color you're putting in it. And I'll go ahead and do her hands and legs. And then I'll fix the color and move to the next baby in order of darkness. So here we go, we'll do his little legs first. Once again, where the back, all the creases are, you want to make sure to pay attention to them. You don't want that paint pooling. Come down over the whole thing. Yeah, I really like putting a skin tone on first. I like bringing these babies up to life as quickly as possible. So that as soon as I start putting color on them and blushing, and I start seeing their characteristics a little clearer, it's that much better. That's why sometimes for my awake babies, I'll put their eyes on first, so I could look at that as I'm painting them and talk to them. Very hard to talk them when they got no eyes in their head, just saying. How's that? So if you let an hour or so of drying time between each coat, maybe 2, it all depends on the condition of your house, how warm it is, how cold it is, how quickly they dry. Because this is all going to be blended anyway, but you also don't want it to get too gummy. You want it to really dry before you put that next coat on. Baby has really cute little feet. Really newborn looking feet. A lot of wrinkles on the top of it. I'll try to see if I can get a close up on that. I also will start blushing. I'm lying. Creasing soon. I don't like waiting to the end because I like building those layers as well. You could always add more too, but it's really hard to take that paint off if you put too much on. And then the babies look really muddy, almost dirty sometimes. And then you get depressed and say, gee, I shouldn't have jumped the gun, and you know, all that stuff. I don't think it's good. There's no pooling anywhere. Nice. You go sit up here like that. This can be This baby I was looking at, and he has 3/4 arms, which means his cloth body will actually come down a little bit before it hooks onto his vinyl. I don't like that very much. I really like full arms. But this baby's so tiny, it's not going to be a huge, big amount. On the bigger babies, I really like them full. Because sometimes it over puffs with stuffing on that top part of the arm that you're attaching to the vinyl. And it just looks odd in clothes. And if you don't stuff it enough, then it creases at the wrong spot because it doesn't hold its shape. It's just not my favorite. If you're going to do a half arm or a 1/4 arm, that's different, I think. Myself, that's how I think. Because, you know, I can think any way I want to because I'm old and I can. There you go. Let's do this. I didn't bring any water in here, and I apologize. Anyway, I cleaned my house today, and I did laundry, and I did washing and drying, which would be laundry, and then I did dishes, washing and drying, that would be dishes. And then I took a shower, washing and drying, but that would be me. And it just doesn't seem to matter how many times you do it, it's still there. It still has to do it again. At some point in time, I would like to be done with washing and cleaning things. I don't mind doing it to myself, cleaning. But houses and laundry and dishes and floors and... See, just the mere thought of it makes me sneeze. It's an allergic reaction, I believe. See, told you. Get my brush, go around all these creases, make sure there's no pooling. Here are the 2 arms. See, this one already starting to look richer than this one with that one coat. It's just, I really love doing this. I just do. So the next baby I'm going to do after this is that sleeping baby, because he's or she is going to be a little darker than this one. Then I'll go vinyl. Then the next one will be my olive skin baby. And probably all I'll do is put one little touch of beige for the next one in here. And then the olive baby, I'll put a touch of sienna in with it. Because all these other tones that are in here are going to be colors that you use in your mottling anyway, further down the line. And depending on how young you want the baby to look or what kind of mottling you like to do. And younger babies, I like mottling. I think it looks cool. I think it really helps with the authenticity. But sometimes, if the skin is too light and you put I also change the color of mottling if my baby's skins are light. Because if not, they look like they've been beaten. And I don't want my babies to look like they come out of an abusive household. It's just not the look I'm going for. So you just kind of change it up. I was talking to one of my doll people on one of the Facebook pages I go to. All Dolls Welcome, nice site. And she was asking, she's new. Well, I consider myself new, but I think she's newer than I am to painting. You know, people are mean to her, say mean things, and make her feel like she doesn't want to paint. And it's like, you know, well, my first thing is tell them to go screw themselves. But, you know, not everybody talks like I do and says things that they feel till they, whatever, until they get not the courage. I just don't like mean people. I really just don't. I told her to tell them to go to hell and leave you alone. But if that was too much, just simply tell them, this is my hobby. You know, and you have your right to your opinion, but it doesn't necessarily mean I want to hear it. Now, if you had something to say, that you think might benefit me, you say it. But if you're going to talk mean about my hobby, screw you. Leave me alone. I am enjoying it. I told you, you're doing it for yourself. And anyone who wants to get on that bandwagon with you and wants to support you, that's wonderful. But, you know, not all people have the same passion or hobby or tact of talking to someone. So don't let them steal your freaking thunder or your passion or your whatever. It's for you. And tell them to leave you alone. And I mean that. From the bottom of my heart. I really like that. That's a really nice beginning. So, you know, you get bullies everywhere. And there are some places that you should be able to say what you want within reason. Always be tactful. I mean, tact is an art form. Not everybody's born with it. Not everybody gets it. Or not everybody learns it. Or not everybody cares enough to use it. But that doesn't mean that you can't demand someone to be kind to you when they talk or respectful. And if they don't, they can leave. But you sure don't have to listen to it or tolerate it. The older you get, too, for you youngins out there that may be listening to me, you really get to the point that you don't care because you've been kind and thoughtful your whole life. And if people are still going to mess with you, I just warn them. I've had to be nice all my life, pretty much. And try not to offend people because my sense of humor, genetically, is sarcastic. I come from a very loud, funny Italian family. And people think we're fighting most of the time, but we don't fight with each other. But we yell because we're impassioned people. That's, you know, that's what they say about us anyway. And I kind of attest to it because I come from a whole family of them. Hold on. I'm sorry. But this cold is a pain in my neck. And we're loud. Anyway, we're loud people. And being a female and growing up in the years that I grew up in, where sarcastic women's personalities weren't really tolerated very well. But if you were a guy, you were funny. Well, I was very funny, but it wasn't looked on with the best of intentions. I also said what I meant, and that was another thing that a lot of people didn't tolerate very well when you were growing up in the 60s and the 70s. It had just started, the women's revolution, from my time and age. Just really started when I was going into my teenage years. And it was surely nothing our parents could warn us on because, you know, my mom was a mother of the 50s, Donna Reed and the whole bit, and I lived that life with them. We had dinner at a certain time. We all sat down at the table. There was nobody working from home at that point, ever. Moms didn't leave the house, usually, to go to work. Heck, some of them didn't even drive for the longest time. And that was the norm. It wasn't bad. She had her sewing circle of her friends that used to come over once a month, and they'd bring their crocheting or their knitting and have desserts together and save up a little money for their whatever dollar that they put into the pot every week, their dues. And then they'd have a lunch together, or I don't know, buy a special treat or whatever. But it was cool because they would sit and they'd talk. All their kids went to school together. We all grew up together. And it was very nice because we have, well, a lot of us still are friends, and we've been friends for 70 years. And, you know, not a lot of people can say that. And our parents were friends before that. Okay, so this is the next baby I'm going to do, is this one. I'm just going to give him a little tiny bit more color than that one. He's all nice. Okay, so all I'm going to do here is I'm going to get Flesh 6. Are these both Flesh 6s? They are. All right. Flesh 6, which is a darker hue. You can see it. And I'm just going to put a little tiny. Now usually what you do is you just drip it in, but my paints are getting old and they're starting to set up, so I have a little bit more control using this. It's a pretty color. That'll look nice on this baby. So it's kind of a light caramel, I guess you'd say. So it has a little bit more beige tone to it. Excuse me again, I'm sorry. Sorry. Is this what I'm painting now? Baby has a freaking cute face too. I got some really cute babies. Fast, go fast, because you don't want any of these brush strokes to set. And you know, if you do piece at a time like I do, the head and then a foot and then a hand, you get pretty quick at it, and you realize that your basic thing is just to cover the entire surface, pounce it out, because there's going to be tons more built over the top of it. I like this color. See this color? Okay, you can see it next to the rim on the bottom here. That's where you can really see it. I'll go ahead and pounce it out. And this is that Laura Tuzio sculpt. What number? 263, I think, of 1200. If anybody knows if she's still around or not, I haven't had time to look her up, but put it in the comments below. I'm kind of curious. This is a really cute baby. This is Owen Francis is his name. I'm assuming he would be an equivalent to what they're calling real borns if he was done a long time ago. That I don't know that he's her own sculpt or a real born sculpt. And for those who are new and don't know the difference of what I'm talking about, so when you see these sculpts that they are considering authentic, which means they're not manufactured on a machine that they don't have the rights to replicate, and they come with COAs, certificates of authenticity, that are done in conjunction with whatever the artist of that, not the artist, but the creator of that sculpt say. What was the point I was trying to make? Oh, a real difference between a real born. So something that is authentic, that the person selling it actually created that sculpt. It's her own design. It's not taken off of a picture. And then they have the real born babies, which are pictures of babies that have been asked to be created as a replica child, not a replica child, but a child representation of their children. So they say they have a little girl and they love this picture and they want it to be made into a doll. So they'll make a 3D sculpt off of a photograph and try to recreate it. That's a real born. If the artist who makes the sculpt creates it herself out of clay, that's an artist sculpt. It's out of her imagination. It's not done off a picture of somebody else. So if you hear that in the world, that's kind of what they're talking about. And none of it means a damn thing to me, because if I like what a baby looks like, I could care if she's created from an artist or created from a photograph of a child that's already been born. It doesn't matter to me, because it just doesn't. This is a really pretty undercoat. I love his ears too. His is really cute. Okay, take it all the way down to the neck. Make sure you get all the creases in the back and there's no pooling. So if you could see the difference between here and here, you could see the color starting to build. Do his legs next. Well, lately I've been starting to put freckles on some of my babies, which I have fun with. I found the best thing to use is a toothpick. You can get such a fine point. And try not to place them when you put them on. Just kind of go willy-nilly, dabbing and such, because freckles are usually not lined up with a road map. If you ever know anybody with freckles, there's just no rhyme or reason to where those freckles may lie. But as artists, you want to make them look in place. So there's no in place. So if you want to play with freckles, do it. Don't be afraid. It'll just be that baby. And in this world of reborns, even if people follow the same color scheme, those babies are not going to look the same. So as far as I'm concerned, they're all unique. Whether they came from an original sculpt, a reborn sculpt, a manufactured sculpt, the way you paint them, they're still all going to be different. So have fun. Have fun, doggone it. Have a good damn time, because you're entitled to it. So yesterday I was talking about maybe coming on in a week or two after I got good portions of these babies painted, and I'm just letting them cure for a couple days before I finish them out. I think I might do a cooking show. Since the weather's cold and yucky here, I like to cook in the oven. I'm not a crock pot cooker. I'm just not. I've tried them before. I think the flavors, myself, once again, my deal, I always think the flavors taste better when they're cooked in an oven. And if I'm home and I could monitor it, I cook in the oven. My sauces, my beans, all that stuff is all stovetop. And I tried doing crock pot cooking before, but for some reason, the flavors just don't taste as rich. And I don't, by rights they should, because you're cooking a long period of time to the same temperature and degree as you do when you cook in the oven. But they just don't, it just doesn't taste as rich to me. So there's that. It's a pretty color, I like it. Cute. Here we go. I have been watching, I like watching about 3 or 4, however many, different type of series at the same time. And I saw this this old one with Kevin Bacon. I love Kevin Bacon. There's a spot there. See if I can get it off. I don't know. I got it. Another one right here. I got it. Sometimes you'll just see little dots. They drive you crazy. Try to get them out immediately. Don't try to go back and get them out at a later date or think they may come out with blending. Because sometimes they just get worse, so you don't want that to happen. Anyway, this show that I'm watching with Kevin Bacon, it is called, hold on, I know it's on the tip of my tongue, I'll just keep talking, it'll pop out of my head in a minute. Anyway, it's a really good story about a serial killer. And it's called The Following. So good. It's a little mind twister. I think it's going to have a twisted ending. There's only 3 seasons of it. I think it was made back in 2015, but it's acting is very good. It's kind of a cult that they're fighting. And this cult's huge, and it's infiltrated everything. It's everywhere. And the dynamics between the main stars of it is pretty intense. It's very good. It's fun to watch. If you like those kinds of shows, go watch it. I kind of got burnt out with my boy Sylvester Stallone with the Tulsa King. I had to give that a break, and Landman, which I watched both of those at the same time, and I had to flip over to a serial killer. Just change it up a minute. Oh my goodness, the things we do. I have yet to find my favorite one, I gotta say, and if you haven't seen it, there's 2 of them, Dead to Me and Good Girls. They were both such good shows. And they have a lot of humor in it, which I like anyway. Tongue-in-cheek kind of stuff. A little twisted, but they're both very good if you haven't seen it. Dead to Me is the one with Christina Applegate. And then Good Girls, I don't know who plays in it, but they're actresses that you've seen. And that was a blast to watch, just a blast. Oh, the guy who plays in the movie Scooby-Doo, he's in it. I don't know his name, but he's in it. Nice, okay, there we go. Pulling anywhere. This baby has a lot of wrinkles on his feet. I love it. Dry. Okay, now the little arms right here. So I will finish up these babies tonight with, I'll do another coat of skin. Maybe not. Maybe I'll start the building colors. So my first color will probably be a light pink wash. And then I'll do a blue. I don't know if I'll do those tonight or not. I may just give them another coat of their skin wash. Or maybe I'll just let them stay overnight and do 2 coats tomorrow, start earlier. And I'll pop on again when I have their skin tones built up and tell you what I did with all of them. I'm still debating on my open-eyed babies, how quickly I'm gonna cut them. I'll probably do it right after I finish the skin layer. And the reason I do that early, I know a lot of people wait until they're close to the end to put the eyes in. But I also, being as my arthritis is so bad, eyes are really hard for me to get in, to bend them and put them in the slot after you cut it from behind the eyes. It kills my hand so badly that I have to take multiple attempts of putting them in, and I have actually rubbed paint off my dolls' heads just trying to get their eyes in. So I do it early in the process. And since you're taking such care of working around the eyes, you don't really have to worry about it. It's just the way I do it because I've ruined a lot of paint on heads just trying to get eyeballs in sockets. So I'm going to finish up this little baby. You get the idea of what I'm doing. I only have one more arm on her to finish and she'll be done. And then I'm going to do my olive skin baby next. And actually that baby's going to have the same color as the biggest baby that I'm working on, the one that I don't know if I'm going to make that baby biracial or not. I don't know. I have a really pretty African American baby doll. She's beautiful, and I'll be reborning her, but that'll only be a partial. And she is so freaking beautiful. She has a beautiful little face. But I won't have to change a lot of her skin tone. I will just enhance what she has, because since she's a manufactured doll, it's all the same. All the babies have the same skin coloring. So I'll use that as my base, and then I'll put some blushing on her, and she's definitely a little girl. I'll put some blushing on her. I'll work around her eyes, make her eyes more definite. Put some creasing on her skin. I'm not a big fan of tipping nails, only because I have never seen a baby be born with French manicure, never in my life. I've been around lots of babies. Usually their nails are so transparent they could tear. There's not a significant white to pink ratio. So what I try to do is I just put color in the middle, like right here. I don't know if you can see that, like right here at the base by the cuticle when I'm doing a baby, and then I will just blend it out so it's lighter at the top than it is at the bottom, rather than French tipping nails and toenails. I'm just not a fan of it because it looks fake. It just looks, to me. And since I'm painting it, that's really all that matters. Imagine if somebody asked for it, I would do it for them because I can do it. I just don't like it for my babies. And when you paint babies on your own, you make them to what you like the best, unless you're doing a custom, and there's that. So this baby, what a pretty skin tone this baby has. Here. Once again, you could see it here. I don't know if you can see it. Here, let me do it this way. Yeah, you can see how light that is in comparison with this here. So that one coat's already starting to give her some depth, and I will let these babies rest all night after I do it. And I think I've been talking your ear off long enough. I don't know. I can do one more baby for you, or I could just say goodnight for the night and let you. How long have I been talking? Oh God, I've been talking long enough for all you people. All you people, I say that in hopes that you are going to be liking and subscribing my page and sending it out to the universe. I have no reason to accomplish getting a certain amount of likes or dislikes or subscriptions, because I really don't know the dynamics of it. If you get paid, if you have them, if you don't get paid. And I'm not really doing this to make money. I'm doing this for fun, and I'm doing this so my grandkids could go back and look at me. My little baby, my 5-year-old, he already watches me, and he likes it every time. He's my fan. He's my number one fan. And I want to leave something behind. Because all of you know that, I think I only have 15 subscribers, but that's okay. Because I have a lot of people watching different stuff, and I move it to Facebook or YouTube or TikTok. And depending on where you listen, all of you know that I lost my son here this last year. It was a horrible thing I've been through in my lifetime. And boy, would I have liked to go back and watch him talk. I wish I could have recorded him more and see him talk on a big screen TV. And I think my grandkids will like doing this. So that's why I'm doing it now. And I'm doing it because I actually have something to show other than just talking. But we have mystery boxes, we have musicians, we have Amazon, we have TikTok live feed purchases, all kinds of things that I will do. I will buy that storage unit. I'm very much looking forward to that, because that alone could get me a trip to somewhere. I don't know where exactly, but it sure could. Well, I'm going to say goodnight to you all right now. I'm going to go ahead and darken up this once and twice for the last 2 babies I have remaining, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your night or day or whenever you're watching this. And please like and subscribe. Give me a thumbs up and let me know if eggplant parmesan might be something you want to see, or meatballs, or stuffed peppers, or I don't know, braciole. That's a good one. It's made with flank steak, and you put herbs and spices in the middle of it, and then you roll it up and you tie it and you throw it in your pasta sauce, and it simmers all day, and it makes you crazy. It's called braciole. Some people call it braciole. Some people call it stuffed flank steak, but they probably aren't Italian, or they were allowed to talk like that at the table. We would have to call it by the name, or we wouldn't get to eat it. No, I'm kidding. We always got to eat. Except me. I was always on a diet, so all my cousins were skinny, so they were always trying to feed them, and I was the oldest, and I was the little fat baby, and they would get to eat everything they want, and they'd put the little tiny sections like this to me on my tray, and to this day, 3 years old, I remember crying because the first time I got my pasta in a cup, I about had a heart failure. I thought my grandmother didn't love me anymore. But she did save the day, because at that dinner table, that Sunday night, when I was so forlorn over my little cup of pasta, we had a big family. And all my uncles and aunts at that point they were laughing at me because I was so distressed. But my grandmother gave me leftover pasta to go bring to King, our dog, out the back. We were at my grandmother's ranch. It was in the East Foothills of San Jose, Apricots. And us kids, talk about traditions. We had more fun in our lifetime growing up than I think anybody that I have ever met. They could not match it against our childhood. All the cousins were each other's best friends. We grew up together. We were together every weekend. We were together every holiday, every summer, every break. We did things together. Our families were close. They were so close. They'd can together. They'd make raviolis together. And all us kids learned how to do it. Now, me being the oldest, I remember better, but I am smarter than all of them. Kidding again. Not really. Okay, anyway, we all got that benefit. We all knew how to grow things in an orchard. We all knew how to can. We all knew how to cook, whether we liked it or not. Some of us didn't, but I think all of my first cousins are all cooks. Our fathers on my mother's side, now I'm lying, our fathers on my father's side were all butchers, but my uncle on my mother's side was a butcher too. But that's what they did. So we knew how to cook every cut of meat. We ate all the time. Gardens all the time. My grandmother had a giant garden. And going out and picking fresh vegetables and fruit when you're living in the Sun Belt of California, there wasn't anything that we couldn't grow, and it was just a great memory. And every holiday, one of my aunts or uncles or whoever's house it was, we all had a holiday. So my family's holiday was Thanksgiving. My cousin and Terry and Michael, their family had Easter, and Karen and Brenda and Patricia and Joey, that was my Aunt Rosalie's family, and they had New Year's and sometimes Christmas Day, and my grandmother was Christmas Eve. And we were all together, and eating was a treat. It was the most amazing deal. The traditions ran so deep. And I was just talking to my cousin about this last week after the holidays, because my son used to go over to see her and her family, because they both lived in San Jose, as he got older. And she was missing my son. She says, it was really something not having my cookie eater here. And he will be missed. And she says, and all our kids don't even understand that they have missed out on so much not being raised as we were with all our cousins. Naturally, they don't miss it because they never had it, but we look back on it and say, it was so different. I guess the whole point of that is if you have any kind of tradition left in your family, try to keep a little bit of it and pass it down to the next generation, because traditions are going away, and they're the best memories of my young life growing up. And I think it's just nice to pass it on. Otherwise, so much history just goes away. That's all I have to say tonight. I hope you all have a good rest of your day, night, evening, or weekend. My dogs are barking, so that means I have to get off the phone because I could be being robbed. I have to go take care of it. Have a wonderful evening. Kisses to you all. I'll talk to you later. Bye.